With the price of food skyrocketing, my husband and I decided we would revive our old garden. It had an old broken down fence around it to keep some of our larger furry critters out, but it needed to be rebuilt on a strict budget, so we opted to use reclaimed lumber. It looked amazing until I made a rookie mistake that ended up costing me way more money and a lot more time. The first thing my husband did was build the structure. He placed the 4x4s into the ground and then put the 2x4 braces in between. Next, we're working on the pickets by cutting them lengthways in half, just regular 6-foot dog-eared pickets. Cut them in half and then cut the angled points at the top. He got all the pickets applied on one side, but a storm was rolling in, so it looks like I'll be putting up the rest of the pickets on this fence the next day. Now that the storm has passed by, we are ready to get going. So what I'm doing is using a extra picket for my spacing. There's also a string line at the very top so that I'm making sure that all of my tops of the fence pickets are level. I'm also working from in one section at a time. So in between each one of those 4x4s, I'm working from the outside edges of both sides of that section so that once I come into the middle, I can kind of nudge the spacing just a little bit. It'll appear to the eye like it's equal spacing, but it may not be exact. I did not want an exact perfect fence. I wanted it to be slightly imperfect and a little quirky. I'm fastening only the tops of each picket and then going back through and doing the bottoms. Hopefully I was trying to avoid doing a lot of up and down bending, even though I was still bending down to get everything level at the top. Ugh, there is nothing worse than running out of nails mid-project. You get on a flow and you think, okay, I'm working along quite at a good pace, and then you run out of nails. And I don't know if you're like me, I go back inside to get some nails and I forget what the heck I was even doing inside in the first place. 20 minutes later, I've started something else and I'm like, oh yeah, I need to get back out there to finish this fence. But eventually I did get the whole front all picketed and it's looking so darling. I'm getting so excited. Now I just need to add the pickets along each of the sides. We're actually only going to put pickets on 3 sides of this fence and keep the back a cattle fencing. We're also going to add some pickets to that gate, but I wanted to do something a little bit cute, so I thought a slight arch on the gate would be really cute. So all I did was I took the outside pickets and I made them the same height as the actual fence pickets, and then each one of the pickets was just 1 inch shorter than the one next to it. And that was it. We just attached it to the gate and it's so darling. I'm so excited. Wait for the next part. So I am a firm believer that absolutely everything can be painted. That is, if you have the right primer. So since I get this question a lot, I decided to go ahead and make a primer guide that details when to use a primer, how to use a primer, and which primer you should pick. So I have the whole guide that'll tell you project by project what it is that you're actually going to be working on and which primer you would like to use. If you would like that primer guide, go ahead and click the QR code that's right down here and it'll be sent to your inbox immediately. So now that the fence in this adorable arbor is built, now it's time for me to stain it. So we're going to do it fast with a sprayer and we're going to keep it on budget. Let's talk a little bit about why I chose the type of stain that I actually did. I went with a solid color stain since we did all repurposed lumber. We've got different, have some darkening, we have some that are really light. And so I wanted a solid color throughout and I figured a solid color stain would be my best. And I chose the Valspar for a couple reasons. It was just a slightly bit cheaper than the Cabot, but it was water-based, water cleanup, easy to use, mildew resistant, And then let's talk about the color. I know it's a little bit unconventional to paint your fence blue, but since it's up against the dark trees, I thought slight contrast would actually look nice. It wouldn't look like something that was brightly out in the landscape, but also we live in Florida where mildew is a serious problem, and I didn't want to be out here touching up fencing every single year because it had mildewed, or out here scrubbing it. You know, we've got plants inside. I don't want to be putting a whole bunch of chemicals out inside here. All right, let's test it out. I've never used this attachment for my spray gun either, so let's see. Let's see what I can do. After getting some protection on, I just went ahead and started making a test sample on a piece of scrap, piece of paper. The problem was is it just wasn't coming out very well. So I went back and forth, and I actually thinned it out quite a bit, but it is still splattering really a lot. It's using a lot of stain for one, but it's also not covering as well as, like, I tested a sample with just a brush, and it was covering much better with just the brush than actually spraying it on. I think I just diluted it too much. It's doing okay, but it's not exactly all right. And what it did is 1 gallon did the whole front section and the arbor of the fence. So now the whole inside needs to be done. So I'm going to head back to Lowe's, grab some more stain, and get the inside. Okay, we're ditching the sprayer today. I'm going to get this inside done, but I picked up a roller and a brush, and we're going to go inside. One, I don't want to drag the thing and the cords and the hose across the plants, but also there's something going on with it that I'm not really sure what is happening. I've used the other attachment on it several times and not had any problems. So it's either the attachment or my machine's getting old or something. I'm actually in correspondence with Wagner right now trying to troubleshoot what exactly is going on with it, because it's never acted that way before. It just did not want to push the paint out. And I don't know. It was fresh out of the box as well. I've never used that attachment before, so I know it's not clogged. So I don't know what is wrong. Let's go ahead, get some paint in this paint tray, and actually roll this out. Oh my goodness, this isn't even a full roll, and I can already tell it is covering so much nicer. It's literally going to take one coat, and it's going to cover everything beautifully. It's also getting into, all the little cracks and crevices, and there's a roughness to the wood is my point. So it's getting into all of those places a lot nicer. Now my hand is cramping like nobody's business, but it's very hot. So it's taking a little longer, but it's covering so much nicer. There, the inside is all completed, but I noticed something tragic. It's actually a different color than the other side that I already painted. Oh my word, that's a complete rookie mistake. Do you see how one side is darker than the other? I ended up having to go back and cover over the front section so that it all matched. So now I have to go back to Lowe's one more time and get more stain and pray to God that it actually matches, because I don't want to do the whole thing over again. Oh, that was a rookie mistake. I really should have gotten all the stain all at once, but I didn't. I was trying to save cost, and I messed up. And now it's time for a transformation tip. So there were 2 lessons that I learned in this particular project. One was because I made a mistake, and the other was just a learning experience. The first thing was something that I know, but I didn't follow the advice. And that is, if you're painting or staining something in a particular color that needs to be mixed, you have to buy all of the stain or paint at one time so that you get the same color throughout. What I did was I trying to save money and also not exactly knowing how far the stain would actually go. Because we were using reclaimed lumber, I didn't know if the stain was going to really absorb into the lumber. So I didn't know how far it would actually go. So that's why when I bought the 1 gallon, went back to get a 2nd gallon, it was actually a different color, which made me had to go get a 3rd gallon. It not only cost me more money, but it also cost me more time because things had to be restained so that all of the colors match. The second thing I learned is that after much trial and error and talking back and forth with the folks at Wagner, the conclusion is that this type of stain I don't think can be used in a sprayer. I think the absolute best way to apply this is with a roller and then touch up with a brush where need be. All right, back to the project. Okay, I'm losing my mind with this stinking stain. So I got 1 gallon, did the whole inside, right? Then I got another gallon to do the whole outside. Well, I didn't get this part of the inside done. But as you can see, I don't know if you can pick this up on camera, but this side of the fence is one color. This side is another because this was the 2nd gallon of paint because I did the outside again so that it matched the inside. Well, I was like, okay, I'm gonna need another gallon of paint. Went back, or stain. So this is the 3rd gallon of stain, and it's this color. So now this has to be painted one more time. So basically what happened was the original color was the color that it was supposed to be. When I went and got the 2nd gallon of paint or stain mixed up, they didn't color match it correctly. Even though I asked for the same color, it didn't mix up correctly. So the machines weren't working right or something. So when I went back for the 3rd time, it actually came out the right color. But because of that, now I have to go back over that dark section and we can finally get to the inside. Are you following where I'm going? Basically, one side of the fence has been stained 3 times. If you're liking this project, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. And if you would like, hit the subscribe button so you can see lots more projects that we have coming up this summer. And I pray that those go a lot more smoother than this because it's actually taken me almost a month to do because we've had rain in between. And you can't stain wet wood, so you have to let the stain dry. But on top of that, I also didn't want to start staining when it was dry and it rained in the afternoon and it not dry properly. So yay! That's where I'm at. But I will say, in the end, it was definitely worth it. I am absolutely loving the blue color. My husband thought it was a little bit cuckoo, but that's okay. But I like the subtle difference with the background. And I also love the dark contrast of the green leaves against it. I think it just is perfect. And in the process of doing all this, I actually put some nasturtiums and beans on the trellis part of the arbor. And I also planted some sunflowers. You wouldn't know that because they're just stalks left. I didn't think, we put the fence up to protect all of our vegetables, but the deer actually came and took out all my sunflowers when they got to the nice, perfect height for them to come and munch on. So we'll start over. Thank goodness sunflowers grow quickly. But we are absolutely enjoying the arbor. I cannot wait for everything to get fully grown so it covers the top of that arbor and everything, is in full bloom. Let me know in the comments below, would you have chosen blue or would you have gone something more typical? Do you have a garden or have you started a garden recently? There is nothing more peaceful than coming out here in the morning, turning on the sprinkler, checking out all the plants, seeing what has grown, seeing what has, changed, and just nurturing this little plot of land that God has given to us. I spoke in a previous video about brain health and about things that, help with that as we get older and, as we watch our parents growing older, and the importance of just keeping our brains active. And there's really nothing like gardening to do that for you. It brings so much joy, and we bring our grandkids out here and they're so excited when they see a red tomato or they've seen something grow themselves. And we've even helped them to plant some seeds so that they can watch that process as well. Hope you all have enjoyed this video. If you have, there might be another video right here that you can click and check out as well. Bye-bye, y'all. I'll see you in the next one. We have something fun coming. This is the first video for our outdoor series of 2026. Next week, we're going to be tackling this mess that is over here. So come back so you can check out that video.